all of your questions right up until kickoff. Thank you so much all for joining us tonight. Excited to talk some NFL football with you. Sam Darnold or Gardner Minshew? I would go with Gardner Minshew actually in that one. I think he's going to have a good game. Daniel Jones or Derek Carr? That's a tough one, G-Clips. I'll lean just slightly towards Derek Carr because I prefer his receivers. Make sure you're following us at Fumble Sports on TikTok, Instagram, and on YouTube. Freiermuth or Evan Ingram? Garrett, I would go with Freiermuth. Avery P. asks, pick two, Jones, McKinnon, or Pollard. I would go with McKinnon, and I would lean just slightly towards Pollard. New York Giant fan 0409 asks, what's the weather for the game tonight? Will it affect the passing game, or the pass catchers rather? One website I like to go to just as a recommendation, this isn't a plug, it's just one I use for research to help you guys out as well, is NFLweather.com. Definitely check it out, NFLweather.com. Tells you not just the weather at kickoff, but also through each quarter of the game. What I'm seeing for tonight's game is the weather, temperature-wise, is going to feel like it's between the high 30s and low 40s. It's not too bad a wind. I actually think the wind's slightly overblown in this one, given what the weather report is for the rest of the country on Saturday and Sunday. So I actually think there's going to be a decent amount of passing, at least attempts in this game. Appreciate all of you joining us. Make sure you follow us at Fumble Sports on TikTok, Instagram, and on YouTube. Terry McLaurin or Christian Watson? Justin, I would go with Christian Watson. DeAndre Swift or Miles Sanders at the flex? I'm going to lean just slightly towards Miles Sanders. That's based largely off of what I saw the Cowboys' run defense do last week. Garrett asks Amari Cooper or Devontae Smith. I would lean towards Devontae Smith. Very windy, hard to trust any wide receivers. Yeah, throughout the week, we're going to get some tough weather across the country for the games on Saturday and Sunday. It kind of starts tonight, but I actually think MetLife Stadium, for all the crazy conditions we'll see this week, isn't going to be as bad as it's forecasted. You'll see some tough wins, but I think it's the Jets defense that actually is going to be more defining than the weather conditions. High Rise 99 asks Christian Kirk, Bam Knight, or Zach Moss. I would lean towards Zach Moss. How much should I trust Justin Fields with the weather? Well, actually, I prefer Justin Fields, maybe because it's going to force him to be a force on the ground. We know he kind of is his best self when he's running the ball, so I think there's a good opportunity for that. Appreciate all of you joining us. Make sure you're following us at Fumble Sports on TikTok, Instagram, and on YouTube. Chalk Bluff asks Joe Mixon or James Conner. I would lean just slightly towards Joe Mixon. Jared Swift asks, who do I pick up for quarterback with Jalen Hurts out? You might want to pick up Minshew if he's available in your league. Daniel Jones is another one. Feel free to let us know who's out there in the waiver wire in a question down below, and we'll answer it. Appreciate all of you joining us. Make sure you throw in your questions. Am I fading Trevor Lawrence for Minshew? Yes, I am. Movie, TV, and sports. Leonard or J.K. Dobbins? That's Leonard Fournette. I would lean towards J.K. Dobbins, Garrett. Start Trevor Lawrence or Jared Goff? That's a tough one for me. I'll lean just slightly towards Jared Goff. I really shouldn't. Both are in tough matchups. Slightly towards Jared Goff. I really shouldn't. Both are in tough matchups in terms of playing on the road, but both are in tough matchups of playing on the road. But I say that I expect McKinnon to have a really big game. The Seahawks have a terrible run defense, and Tony Pollard, really, I expect them to have a good game. So I expect Pollard to kind of be the driving force around that. Where with Aaron Jones, I think he could have a decent game, but he's going to have some of his production obviously just taken out because Dillon is supposedly healthy, and the passing game of the Packers is what really will, I think, shine on Sunday Night Football. So that's why I say that. Appreciate all of you joining us. Make sure you're following us at Fumble Sports on TikTok, Instagram, and on YouTube. Appreciate all the support you guys show us. Amari asks Zay Jones or Singletary. I would go with Singletary. Jared, the reason I feel okay about Minshew against the Dallas defense is they've had trouble in the back half of their defense. Their secondary is injured. I obviously think, yeah, Micah Parsons is going to get a couple sacks, but I still think the Eagles' offense is going to go out there and put up some points. Garrett Wilson or Mike Williams in a PPR. I'll lean just slightly towards Mike Williams. Thank you, Damian. Appreciate all the support you show us. It Golfer asks Kamara or Juju in the flex. I'll lean just slightly towards Kamara. A Walker 329 asks Waller or Schultz. I'll lean slightly towards Waller. New York Giant fan 0409 asks, have A.J. Brown, should I start Minshew for the stack or Tom Brady? I would go with Tom Brady on that one. I know it goes against your New York Giant instincts, but I think Tom Brady's going to have a really good week this week. Skiggs5 asks Justin Herbert or Trevor Lawrence. That's a no-brainer. I think Justin Herbert actually has a pretty good game. Is Trevor Lawrence a good start with Hurts out this week? I'm not crazy about it. I think that the defense of the Jets is really good. I think the weather only contributes to that. I think Trevor Lawrence is going to have some turnovers. So for a number of reasons, I'm kind of fading Trevor. Dylan, definitely go with Montgomery. Zach Moss or Bam Knight. I'd go Zach Moss, Bobby. Zach Knight or ETN. On that one, I'd lean slightly towards ETN. Why Williams over Metcalf? I wouldn't go Williams over Metcalf. I would go with Metcalf. Garrett Wilson or Chris Godwin. I'll lean slightly towards Chris Godwin. Just slightly, Nick. Again, I like the matchup that Tom Brady has against the Cardinals. That's why I'm saying that. Guys, if you want to do one of our polls, make sure you hit that like button. Once we get up to 5,000 likes, we'll do a poll around tonight's game. We have a number of them lined up for tonight, so make sure you hit that like button. And of course, follow us at Fumble Sports on TikTok, Instagram, and YouTube. But hit that like button. Let's get up to 5,000 likes. A. Brown asks Kittle or Fant. If Fant is healthy and a go for the Seahawks, I would go with Fant. He's been on the injury report the last couple games. That's the only reason why I'm concerned. Joshing around asks Ingram or Kittle and why. I would lean just slightly towards Kittle simply because, again, I think the weather, the circumstances around tonight's game, I think Ingram could have a tough time being targeted. I know, again, he's had some good production over the last 3-4 weeks. But I think Kittle might be the better play because I think Kittle is more likely to get a touchdown. Appreciate all of you following us. Make sure you hit that like button and get us up to 5,000 likes so we can do a poll. The People's Banker asks Minshew or Aaron Rodgers. Opponent has A.J. Brown. Even with that, I would lean towards Aaron Rodgers. I think he's going to have a big passing game against that Dolphins secondary. Brandon asks, do I start Ingram tonight? I'm not crazy about it. It depends on who your other options are. I think it can be a tough week at tight end, so I'm not completely fading Ingram, but I think for reasons, I think he's going to get around 3 receptions. You hope that's going to get you 50 yards and a touchdown, but that's going to be pretty tough against the Jets secondary. Appreciate all of you joining us. Make sure you're following us at Fumble Sports on TikTok, Instagram, and YouTube, and at Sports Fumble on Twitter. If you give us a gift, it shows up as a little icon next to your name. Makes it really easy to see your question. And just like Damian Skyberg did, that's why we go right to it. Pick 2, Ingram, Schultz, Knox, Njoku, or Johnson. Okay, this one I would go with Schultz. And I'll lean just slightly towards Knox. Johnson and Njoku and Knox all have bad weather conditions. It's just a tough weather day across that stretch. I'll lean slightly towards Schultz and Knox. The only other player I would consider is Ingram swapping out for Knox if that wind is too bad in Chicago. The only other player I would consider is Ingram swapping out for Knox if that wind is too bad in Chicago. You might want to even see who else is available on the waiver wire. Daniel Bellinger is a tight end that's out there in a lot of leagues, so he may be someone you want to look towards. You may be able to pick him up. Appreciate all of you following us. User 906 gave us a gift, and that allows me to see that question real fast. Zonovan Knight versus Zach Moss, rather. User 906, I would go with Zach Moss. Appreciate all of you following us. Make sure you hit that like button once we hit 5. James, cut Pacheco and pick up McKinnon, or keep and play Pacheco. The question is, why can't you play both? If you had to just go with one, I think I would lean just slightly towards McKinnon, but it's close. I think Andy Reid does play favorites. Last week, I think he played the favorite of McKinnon, in part because of the fumble, so you don't want to get caught up in that too much. Okay, Strain Dad 3 asks Miles Sanders or J.K. Dobbins. I'm going to lean just slightly towards J.K. Dobbins. Sanders has the tougher matchup. I do like that Minshew is going to be playing. I think it's going to open up some of the running lanes for Sanders in ways that if Hurts was playing on a bad shoulder, it wouldn't. But that said, I'm going to lean just slightly towards J.K. Dobbins. The only concern is you want to make sure he's fully healthy. He has been on the injury report this week. That might also lean you towards a certain direction. Dobbins plays earlier in the schedule, so that'll be helpful. You'll know which one to play. So Strain Dad 3, I would go lean towards Dobbins, but if a late injury report comes out where you don't feel confident, you can always go back to Sanders and not get hurt. You're in a fantasy playoff bet. If you're going to bench someone, sometimes it's nice to also put some money on a certain direction to make it a little easier. ETN over 2 receptions. I thought about playing that player prop bet earlier. I didn't put money on it. Towards the over, leaning towards like 3 catches, given that it's going to be wet conditions. Wouldn't you think that Doug Peterson wants Trevor Lawrence to get the ball out faster? So for that reason, Tay Dillon, I do lean towards the over 2 receptions for ETN. Zonovan Knight or Jamal Williams asks Alex Lopez. I would go with Jamal Williams. Connor, who's a loyal follower, asks Christian Kirk or Mike Evans. I would go with Mike Evans for the very reason you brought up. Weather not looking great for tonight's game, and Kirk is going up against Sauce Gardner as well, one of the best cornerbacks in the NFL. Make sure you're hitting that like button. Once we get up to 5,000 likes, we'll do a quick poll around tonight's game. Ryan asks Wilson, Purdy, or Pickett. I would go with Kenny Pickett on that one, Ryan. HD Bowhunter 95 asks Moss, Knight, or Mixon. I'll lean just slightly towards Moss. It's a toss-up for me between Moss and Mixon. I lean slightly towards Moss, though. Make sure you're following us at Fumble Sports on TikTok, Instagram, and YouTube. Italian Beast 24 asks Garrett Wilson, T. Higgins, and McKinnon have to start too. That's an easy one for me. I would go with McKinnon, and I would go with T. Higgins, Italian. And you have Derek Carr or Italian. Make sure you're following us at Fumble Sports on TikTok, Instagram, and YouTube. Poll. It will be around a player prop. Daniel Jones, Derek Carr, or Purdy after you lost Kyler Murray. Well, Willie Billy, I would go with Derek Carr just barely over Daniel Jones. My concern is I don't like the Giants receivers. I prefer what Carr has in the Raiders. Jordan asks Trevor Lawrence or Kirk Cousins. That's a no-brainer, Jordan. I would go with Kirk Cousins this week. Trevor asks, am I riding with Trevor Lawrence tonight? I really don't like it. Tough weather conditions, short week, coming off the win, so a bit of a high, so you kind of expect a bit of a letdown. And he's going up against a Jets defense that's one of the best in the NFL, especially with a secondary that can make plays. This defense is, one of the best when it comes to turnovers. Minshew or Deshaun Watson? I'd go with Minshew. The weather conditions in Cleveland have me concerned about Deshaun Watson, so I would go with Minshew. Appreciate all of you joining us. Make sure you're following us at Fumble Sports on TikTok, Instagram, and YouTube. Miles Sanders, Pacheco, Marquise Goodwin, Ayuk at the flex. On that one, I would go with Pacheco. Make sure you're hitting that like button. Once we hit 5,000 likes, we'll do a quick poll. Evan Ingram or Goddard, and why? I would go with Goddard. I think he's the better matchup going up against the Cowboys. Again, Ingram, I don't like it against the Jets and weather, so I prefer Goddard. Even though he's coming off of injury, I actually prefer him. Thoughts on Mike Evans this week? I like his matchup against the Cardinals, and I expect Tom Brady to throw that ball frequently. Make sure you're following us at Fumble Sports on TikTok, Instagram, and YouTube, and at Sports Fumble on Twitter. By the way, if you have questions about tonight's game pick, player prop bets, the total play, feel free to hit us up on that or any other games for NFL Week 16. Just make sure you're following us at Fumble Sports on TikTok, Instagram, and YouTube. Ingram or Goddard? Yeah, I'd go Goddard. Appreciate all of you joining us. Make sure you're following us. Davey George asks Devontae Smith, Ramondre Stevenson, or Keenan Allen at the flex. I would go with Keenan Allen. Even though he's going up against Gilmore, I'd still go with Allen. Najee Harris or Christian Watson. I lean towards Christian Watson, JT. Dat Boy Sean, who's a loyal follower, shows up and asks Jawan Johnson, Mark Andrews, or Dulcich. I may regret it, but I'll lean towards Mark Andrews. Dylan Cope asks pick 2, Zay Jones, Deontay Johnson, or Zach Moss. I would go with Deontay Johnson and Zach Moss, Dylan. Yeah, I'm fading Zay Jones tonight. Appreciate all of you joining us. Make sure you're following us at Fumble Sports on TikTok, Instagram, and YouTube, and hit that like button. Once we hit 5,000 likes, we'll do a quick poll around a player in tonight's game, a player prop bet. You don't want to miss that one. Tom Brady or Brock Purdy, please. I would go with Tom Brady. Always appreciate the polite question. Deshaun Watson, Daniel Jones, or Minshew. I'll lean just slightly towards Daniel Jones. The Vikings' pass defense is so bad. I'll lean slightly in that direction, I think. I'm not crazy about it. I know I want to say Minshew, but I feel like they also could rely on the running game against the Cowboys enough. It's a toss-up between Daniel Jones and Minshew. Samus Reyes, I don't have any thoughts. Wemo 3, Najee Harris or ETM. I would go with Najee Harris. Dylan, Dobbins, or Williams. I'm assuming that's Jamal Williams, in which case I would lean towards Dobbins. Again, you just want to make sure he's healthy, Ryan, and then if he's not, you can go with Jamal Williams. Aaron Jones or Miles Sanders. I'll lean towards Aaron Jones, Cheech. Samuel Miller, 90. Pittman, Zay Jones, Christian Watson at the flex. I would go with Christian Watson, Samuel. J. Ram, 77, asks Zay Jones or Terry McLaurin at the flex. I would go with Terry McLaurin, Jay. Appreciate all of you joining us. Make sure you're following us at Fumble Sports on TikTok, Instagram, and YouTube, and at Sports Fumble on Twitter. If you're worried I'm missing your gift, you can just give us a little gift. If you're worried I'm missing your question, you can just give us a little gift. Doesn't need to be anything but like a cent. It shows up as a little icon next to your name. Just makes it easier for me to show you. Obviously, a lot of our followers do that to make it really easy to catch them and give them some quick fantasy advice. Bryce Song 72 as Zay Jones or Mostert. I would go with Mostert, Bryce Song. Mostert. Appreciate all of you joining us. A Walker 329 asks pick 2, Latavius Murray, Joe Mixon, Zonovan Knight, Jamal Williams, Deion Jackson, or Brandon Ayuk. Okay, let's break it down. I would go with Joe Mixon, and I would go with Jamal Williams. Those would be the two I'd go with. Dobbins or ETN tonight with the weather? I would go with Dobbins, the real Cale Bradley. Jet 12 270 asks ETN or James Conner this week. On that one, I would lean just slightly towards ETN. Not because of weather. Obviously, the weather's worse in ETN's situation. But if I'm the Buccaneers defense, I'm taking away the run game of the Cardinals and forcing a backup quarterback to try and beat me. Avery P. asks Ramondre Stevenson or McKinnon. That's a no-brainer for me. It's McKinnon, a much better matchup for the Kansas City Chiefs going up against that Seattle Seahawks run defense. Appreciate all the support you guys show us. Make sure you're following us at Fumble Sports on TikTok, Instagram, and YouTube. And make sure you're hitting that like button. Once you hit that like button, get us up to 5,000. We'll do a quick poll around tonight's game. We'll do it around a player prop bet that we'll give away. Trevor Lawrence or Tom Brady for someone who just gave us a gift. I'm sorry, that handle is kind of hard for me to read. Trevor Lawrence or Tom Brady. I would go with Tom Brady. Much better matchup, better weather situation. I think Tom Brady has a good week. I really like Tom Brady for you. Moss, Walker, or Zonovan Knight. Well, if Walker's healthy, I would like Walker, but I'm really worried about him. He's been missing practice. So in that case, I would go with Moss. In either case, you don't have to worry about Zonovan Knight. I wouldn't play him. Is Zay Jones worth the start this week? He isn't for me. I'm sitting him in my leagues. I did put on one extra player prop bet to actually hedge against myself, just on over receptions, just in case he becomes the favorite target of Trevor Lawrence. But I can't see him getting a lot of yards tonight. The only way he could burn me is on an anytime touchdown, but I don't see him getting, a 70-yard receiving game against the Jets secondary in this kind of weather. Appreciate all of you joining us. Make sure you're hitting that like button after I answer your question. ETN or Cam Akers? I'll lean just slightly towards ETN. Esther Camp asks, pick two, ETN, Sanders, or Mostert. I would go with Sanders and Mostert on that one. Dat Boy Sean asks, replace Kirk for Pacheco in the flex. Yeah, I would go with Pacheco. I'd rather start Pacheco in the flex. Okay, Ryan Polly asks, ETN or Garrett Wilson? So on this one, I'm going to lean slightly towards Garrett Wilson, just slightly. Jaguars defense or Bengals defense? I'm going to go with the Bengals defense going up against Mac Jones at home. That has seemed to be a winner for a lot of defenses so far this year. Full PPR as CD Doma, Zach Moss or Brandon Ayuk. I would lean towards Zach Moss. Appreciate all of you joining us. Make sure you hit that like button. Get us up to 5,000 likes so we can do that quick poll. Alex asks, ETN or Zeke? I would go Zeke Elliott. Good chance for an anytime touchdown. Woody Demand asks, Jaguars or Dallas defense? On that one, I would lean towards Jacksonville. I could see Dallas giving up some yards and maybe some points to Minshew and Sanders. And the Eagles are going to let up against the Dallas Cowboys. No, I think Jason Kelsey and that O-line. Geno Smith. Appreciate all of you joining us. Make sure you're following us at Fumble Sports on TikTok, Instagram, and on YouTube. Trevor Lawrence or Geno Smith. Your boy LA25 asks, start two, ETN, Aaron Jones, Moss, or Pollard. On that one, I would lean slightly towards Aaron Jones and Tony Pollard. B-Dog asks Mostert or Bam Knight in a half PPR. B-Dog, I would go with Mostert. Make sure you're following us at Fumble Sports on TikTok, Instagram, and YouTube. And of course, once we get up to 5,000 likes, we're going to do a quick poll around tonight's game. So make sure you're following and hitting that like button. Jason, who gave us a gift, so there's a little icon next to his name, makes it really easy to find him in the chat. Jason asks, do I start Christian Kirk tonight? I don't like that matchup. He's going up against Sauce Gardner. Bad weather. Don't like it. A lot of reasons for me to say go find someone else. And Njoku or Dawson Knox, really don't like either one of them. Both have terrible weather conditions. And Njoku actually has a bad matchup on the other side as well. Saints are pretty good against tight ends in fantasy. I'd lean towards Saints are pretty good against Sam Darnold or Kenny Pickett. Shred Winter, I would lean just slightly towards Kenny Pickett. Jay Field. Shred Winter, I would lean just slightly towards Kenny Pickett. Jay Fields asked James Conner or Jerick McKinnon. I would go with Jerick McKinnon. Fields. Appreciate all of you joining us. Make sure you're following us at Fumble Sports. Once we hit 5,000 likes. Oh, thank you so much, Oscar. Buenas noches. Just Max 49 asks, start 2, Ayuk, Watson, or Juju Smith-Schuster. I'd lean just slightly towards, I really like Watson, but I'd lean slightly towards Juju Smith-Schuster, just slightly. Justin DS asks, pick 2, Terry McLaurin, Jerry Jeudy, or Mike Evans. I'll go with Mike Evans and Terry McLaurin. BNLM Star asks, start Minshew or pick up Rodgers. I would go with Aaron Rodgers. I think he's got the much favorable matchup with the Dolphins defense. Peyton asks, D-Hop or Wilson. If that's Garrett Wilson, I prefer Garrett Wilson just slightly. Alex Gordon 4 asks, start 2, Garrett Wilson, Mike Evans, DJ Moore. I would go with Mike Evans and DJ Moore. Appreciate all of you joining us and supporting us. We've hit 5,000 likes, so let's do a quick poll around tonight's game. The first one involves someone we just spoke about, Garrett Wilson. His over-under for total receiving yards for tonight's game is set at 52.5. Garrett Wilson, his over-under for total receiving yards for tonight's game is set at 52.5 total yards. 52.5 total yards for Garrett Wilson over-under. So what do you think? Smiley face over, crying face under. What do you guys think? Smiling face over, crying face under, 52.5 receiving yards for Garrett Wilson. And let's see what you guys think, and go. Appreciate all of you joining us. We have a poll question up because we hit 5,000 likes. Will Garrett Wilson have over or under 52.5 receiving yards tonight against the Jacksonville Jaguars? 52.5 receiving yards, smiling face over, crying face under. What do you guys think? Both are going off at minus 115, so Vegas is setting this at a hard number. Over under 52.5 receiving yards for Garrett Wilson. What do you guys think? Make sure you're following us at Fumble Sports on TikTok, Instagram, and on YouTube, where you can check out our stream right now as we have live graphics. Make sure you're following as we do this quick poll. Will Garrett Wilson have over or under 52.5 receiving yards? Over, smiley face, under, crying face. We are dead knocked here. What do you guys think? This is a close one. Smiling face over, crying face under, and just barely, you guys have it as the over, as do I. The Fumble Sports player prop bet for that over-under play involving Garrett Wilson is the over. I do like over 52.5 yards, so I agree with our audience out there. If you guys had a lot of fun doing that poll, make sure you hit the like button. We'll do it again every time we hit another 5,000 likes, so we'll do that at 5,000 likes. Until then, we'll answer more of your fantasy football questions, but thank you so much for joining us. Having a lot of fun talking about some action around tonight's game between the Jaguars and the Jets, and of course, answering your Week 16 fantasy football questions. We'll be doing that right up until kickoff of tonight's Thursday night football game. Your boy LA 25, start 3, Justin Jefferson, Waddle, Hopkins, Mike Williams. The one I would sit is DeAndre Hopkins, so it would be J.J. Waddle and Mike Evans. Appreciate all the support you guys show us. Skiggs5 asks, start one, bench one, cut one. Algier, Dylan, Latavius Murray. Okay, I would start Algier, I would bench Dylan, and I would cut Latavius Murray. Brian Fisher asks, Taysom Hill or Goddard. I lean slightly on, and I would cut Latavius Murray. Brian Fisher asks, Taysom Hill or Goddard. I lean slightly towards Goddard. I know Hill could be used in a number of different ways in that offense, but I lean just slightly towards Goddard. Can I trust Trevor Lawrence tonight? I actually might like him more. A lot of wind expected in that game between the Bills and Bears. Could impact the passing game. Patrick asks, Njoku or Goddard. I would go with Goddard on that one. Make sure you're following us at Fumble Sports on TikTok, Instagram, and YouTube. And hit that like button once we hit 10,000 likes. No, I take it back. Brandon, I take it back. I'm going Devontae Smith this week, and I'm kind of going back and forth on it. Of the Eagles in the last few weeks, I think that Jalen Hurts being out is actually good for the passing game. Minshew will be better, so I'll go with Devontae Smith, Brandon. Appreciate all of you joining us. Make sure you follow us at Fumble Sports on TikTok, Instagram, and YouTube. And as you can see, I go through the process too. I'm kind of taking in all the research that I do throughout the week. I'm trying to give you the best answer possible. Definitely also trying to give you the answer that has the highest floor. That way you're not going to get sunk in some of those terrible games. Highest floor is what we're really going for. Ceilings happen all the time. You get lucky. I definitely want to give you some of those. But if we have that highest floor, you're going to hit around 100 points, 110 points in fantasy. That should help you get a win. Kyle Evans, 93, who gave us a gift. Thank you so much, Kyle. He asks, half PPR, McKinnon, Stevenson, Connor, Harris, pick two. The two I would go with, I definitely go with McKinnon, and I'd go with Stevenson as the other one, Kyle. Appreciate all of you joining us. Make sure you hit that like button. Once we hit 10,000 likes, we'll do another quick poll. Simon asks, Garrett Wilson, Keenan Allen, Godwin, or Mike Williams. I'll lean just slightly towards Keenan Allen. Jay asks, pick three, Devontae Adams, A.J. Brown, Keenan Allen, Godwin, D-Hop, Kenneth Walker III, please. We got you. Devontae Adams for one, A.J. Brown, no, I'd go Devontae Adams for one, Godwin for two, and I'd go Keenan Allen for three. ETN or Williams, I'd go Williams, click, click. Appreciate all of you guys joining us and following us at Fumble Sports on TikTok and on YouTube. We have some questions that are coming in on YouTube. Make sure you check out our broadcast on there as we have some new graphics. James Conner or McKinnon is the question that we get. I would definitely go with McKinnon. Make sure you check out our broadcast on there as we have some new graphics. James Conner or McKinnon is the question that wins. Kenneth Walker III, ETN or McKinnon, pick two. On that one, I would go with McKinnon, and I would go with J.K. Dobbins in that question. One last one from YouTube before we get back to TikTok Live's questions. Pick two, or rather, who would you bench? Garrett Wilson and play all of these. Oh, okay. No, I would still go Dobbins and McKinnon and start Garrett Wilson for that question that comes from YouTube. Make sure you guys are following us on YouTube at Butt Fumble Sports. Okay, Russ or Purdy? I would lean just slightly towards Russ. I can't believe I'm saying it, but more favorable matchup. Joey, Zay Jones, Hollywood Brown, or Adam Thielen? I would go with Adam Thielen. Should I start Pacheco or Knight, asks Parker. Parker, I would go with most loyal followers, ask Goddard or Schultz. I'll lean just slightly towards Goddard. I think that's really about the mouths to feed in that Cowboys offense. That's why I go in that direction, Damian. I think the Cowboys have so many options that Schultz could have a good game, but I think if the Eagles are going to succeed, it's going to have to be in part because Goddard has a good game. Thank you guys for sharing, whoever did that. Make sure you guys are giving the gift of football and fantasy football conversation to your friends and family. Share at Butt Fumble Sports with everyone else. Juju Smith-Schuster asked the question is Juju Smith-Schuster asked the question is Juju Smith-Schuster, Christian Watson or Ayuk. Massive asked start 2, Judy, Wilson, Mike Evans or Christian Kirk. I would go with Mike Evans, and I'll lean just slightly. YT asks, Zay Jones, Kirk, or Godwin start 2. Man, I really don't like Kirk and Zay Jones tonight. And it's Goodwin. Marquise Goodwin's banged up too. So you need to go find some help off the waiver wire. Swift or Watson? I'd go Christian Watson. Appreciate all the support you guys show us. Make sure you're following us at Butt Fumble Sports on TikTok, Instagram, and YouTube, and at Sports Fumble on Twitter. Patel 1 asks CeeDee Lamb or Garrett Wilson. I would go with CeeDee Lamb. Once we get up to 10,000 likes, we'll do another quick poll. Kevin asked McKinnon or Kenneth Walker III. I definitely go with McKinnon. T-Boy 7210, Ingram or Waller. I would definitely go with Waller on that one, T-Boy. That's definitely the better one is Waller. Answering your fantasy questions and all of your Week 16 questions. It can be game picks, players, player prop bets, total plays. We're here for all of it. Cam Akers, Zay Jones, or Zach Moss. I would go with Zach Moss, Aztecs. Jags or Jets on the money line. I'd go with the New York Jets tonight. I think this game favors the home team and the defense on a Thursday night football game. So for that reason, I would go with the Jets. Mark Andrews or Njoku. I would go with Mark Andrews. Getting closer to 10,000 likes. Once we hit 10,000, we'll do another quick poll. Juju Smith-Schuster or Watson. I'd go Watson. Knight or Murray. That's a tough one for me. I might lean slightly towards Murray. Mark asks Cooper, DJ Moore, Rashad White. I'd go DJ Moore. Kyle Sims asks PP in a PPR flex, A.J. Dillon or Christian Kirk. Ooh, that's a tough one. I lean slightly towards A.J. Dillon. I really don't like Kirk tonight. Pickett or Russ? I'll lean slightly towards Pickett. Where are we at? Pacheco, Etienne, or Dobbins in a PPR? I'd go Pacheco, Dark Rider. DeFluff asks Huntley or Pickett. I would go Pickett. Some of you guys got the best names. Appreciate all you guys joining us and supporting us. Make sure you hit that like button. Once we hit 10,000 likes, we'll do another quick poll. Also share Butt Fumble Sports with family, friends, coworkers. We love talking sports. Make sure you let others join the conversation. Palmer, Thielen, or Zay Jones for the flex. I would go with Adam Thielen. Bills defense or Eagles defense? Patrick, you definitely want to play the Bills defense this week. Dat Boy Sean, I should start Kirk and bench Miles Sanders. I don't know. I feel like Kirk finna snap. I don't like Christian Kirk this week. I'd rather have Miles Sanders, Dat Boy Sean. Make sure you're following us at Butt Fumble Sports on TikTok, Instagram, and YouTube, and at Sports Fumble on Twitter. Patriots defense or Ravens defense? Aztecs, you want to go Ravens defense there. Patriots defense is about to get blown out. Buck Nasty 505, Kirk Cousins or Tua. I'll go with Kirk Cousins. K Cowboy 14, Zeke or Dobbins. Ooh, that's a bit of a tough one for me. I'll lean just slightly towards Zeke. Waddle or Thielen, I'd go Waddle, especially since you already have Kirk. I wouldn't double up on it. West Brown 5, Ingram or Goddard. I'd go with Goddard, Wes. It's West Brown. Notorious Bad Brad. Start Devontae with Hurts out. Yeah, I actually think you're going to be okay. I expect Gardner Minshew to chuck the ball around a decent amount. Dak or Foles? You got to go Dak. Appreciate all of you joining us. Make sure you're following us at ButtFumble Sports on TikTok, Instagram, and YouTube, and at SportsFumble on Twitter. If you're worried that I'm missing your chat, just give us a small gift. A little icon shows up next to your name. Makes it really easy to see you in the chat. Jaguars defense or Jets defense? I mean, if I think the Jets are going to win on the money line, I guess I'd lean towards the Jets defense. Juwan Johnson or Ingram? On that one, I would lean towards Ingram. Full PPR, Hopkins, Judy, Waddle, pick one. I'd go with Waddle. Kittle, Ingram, or Goddard? I'll lean slightly towards Goddard. Make sure you're following us at ButtFumble Sports on TikTok, Instagram, and YouTube, and at SportsFumble on Twitter. Once we hit 10,000 likes, we'll do another quick poll. Want to make sure you don't miss that one. That's about two of the players going at it tonight. Which player will have more fantasy points? Should be an interesting question, so make sure you're hitting that like button. Rich Rob, 88. Bench one, Judy, Pittman, Donovan Peoples-Jones, or DJ Moore. The one I would bench is actually DPJ, Rich Rob. I would bench Donovan Peoples-Jones. Pick two, Juju Smith-Schuster, Deontay Johnson, or Michael Pittman. I'll go with Juju and Deontay Johnson. Not sure what I'm getting from Nick Foles. That's why I do that. Anthony asks, Bam Knight or David Montgomery. I would go with David Montgomery, Anthony. Make sure you're following us at ButtFumble Sports on TikTok, Instagram, and YouTube. Start Swift or Kirk? I'd start Swift. Caesar asks, pick two. Scary Terry, Keenan Allen, or Mike Williams? I'll go with Keenan Allen and Mike Williams. Mr. Zengo, Scary Terry, Keenan Allen, or Mike Williams? I'll go with Keenan Allen and Mike Williams. Mr. Zengo, Evans, Mike Williams, Juju, Zay Jones. Pick two, please. I'd go with Mike Evans, and I'd go with Mike Williams. Appreciate you joining us. Greg Ferrari asks, okay, the tight end from the Titans or Taysom Hill. I lean towards Taysom Hill in that one. Swift or Kirk? Swift. Justin Fields, Rodgers, or Tua? I'll lean slightly towards Tua. To me, it's a toss-up between Rodgers and Tua. Garrett Wilson or CeeDee Lamb? Parker, I'd go CeeDee Lamb. Once we hit 10,000 likes, we'll do a quick poll. Don't want to miss that one. About two players who are going at it tonight. Richie James or Zonovan Knight in a PPR? Believe it or not, I'm going to lean towards Richie James. Zay Jones or Jamal Williams? I'm going Jamal Williams. J.K. Dobson or Patterson? I'm going J.K. Dobson. Zay Jones or Jamal Williams? I'm going Jamal Williams. J.K. Dobson or Patterson? I'm going J.K. Dobson. Make sure you're following us at ButtFumble Sports and share. Make sure you're sharing ButtFumble Sports with others. We love talking sports. Let others know that we got this conversation going. Schultz or Njoku? Andrew Fitz? I would go with Schultz. Dirk Diggler, bench one, D-Hop, Godwin, Kirk, or Allen? It's a tough one for me because I don't like D-Hop getting a third-string quarterback throwing to him. So I'd sit D-Hop as much as I don't like Kirk tonight. Zay Jones or Pittman? That's a tough one. I'll lean just slightly towards Pittman, I think. Peacher, 32, please help. Need wide receiver 2, RB2, and flex. Mike Evans, Mike Williams, Ramondre Stevenson, Etienne, or Pacheco as your wide receiver 2. We're going to go with Pacheco as your running back 2. And we're going to go with Ramondre Stevenson as your flex. So, before this game, this question we have now is about 2 star wide receivers in tonight's game. before this game. This question we have now is about two star wide receivers in tonight's game. Which wide receiver will have more fantasy points in this Thursday night football matchup? Smiling face Christian Kirk, crying face Garrett Wilson. Which wide receiver will have more fantasy points tonight? Smiling face Smiling face Christian Kirk, crying face Garrett Wilson. I'm going to try this one more time without screwing it up. Which wide receiver will have more fantasy points on Thursday night football? Smiling face Christian. Okay, everybody ready? Fantastic. So our poll right now that we've got up, because we've hit 10,000 likes, is which wide receiver will have more fantasy points on Thursday night football? Smiling face for Christian Kirk or crying face for Garrett Wilson? Make sure you're following us at Fumble Sports on TikTok and YouTube. Go check out our stream on YouTube as we put up some new graphics. As once again, Fumble Sports continues to grow and get better. Our quick poll: smiling face Christian Kirk, crying face Garrett Wilson. Which wide receiver will have more fantasy points tonight? Let us know what you guys think. Smiling face Christian Kirk, crying face Garrett Wilson. Which wide receiver will have more fantasy points tonight? Appreciate all you guys supporting us and joining us. Make sure you're following us at Fumble Sports. Only a few seconds. Receiver has more fantasy points tonight. You guys think it's going to be Christian Kirk? An interesting answer. I lean slightly in the other direction. I think it's going to be Garrett Wilson. I think there's a better chance for that. Interesting where your guys think that maybe some of the success. I think it's going to be Garrett Wilson. I think there's a better chance for that. Interesting where your guys think that maybe some of the success that Kirk's had over the last few weeks is going to continue. Appreciate all of you guys joining us. Make sure you're following us at Fumble Sports on TikTok, Instagram, and YouTube. Every time we hit another 5,000 likes, we do a quick poll just like that. So we'll do another quick poll at 15,000 likes. Now let's get back to answering your fantasy questions. Paris Campbell or Mackenzie? Ooh, that's a tough one. Sports with family and friends this holiday season. We love talking sports and we're trying to grow one viewer at a time. We could always use your support. Ingram or Njoku? I would go with Ingram. Jets or Jaguars defense? I'll go with Jets defense just slightly. DPJ or Gabe Davis? That's a really tough one, Braden, Braden Moore. That's a really tough question. Both have really bad weather conditions. I think that's going to impact their ability to be successful. So I would try to find someone off the waiver wire. Appreciate all of you joining us. Make sure you're following us at Fumble Sports on TikTok, Instagram, and on YouTube, and at Sports Fumble on Twitter. If you have questions, we have answers about Week 16, game plays, totals, player prop bets, so feel free to throw those in the question as well or in the chat. Phil asks, Kittle or Goddard or both? I would go with Goddard just slightly. Gabe Davis or Dylan? I would go with Dylan, Justin. Freiermuth or Schultz? I'll go Freiermuth just slightly. Foles or Trevor Lawrence? Ooh, that's a tough one. I really don't like it. I don't know what I'm getting from Nick Foles, in that first game. Chig or Jawan, I really don't like either one. Appreciate you shouting us out, but I would go try and find someone else on the waiver wire. Make sure you're following us at Fumble Sports on TikTok, Instagram, and YouTube. Miles Sanders, Pacheco, or Bam Knight, Pacheco. ETN or Mike Williams? Jack, I'd go Mike Williams. Once we hit 15,000 likes, we'll do another quick poll. So hit that like button as many times as you can. Let's get up to 15,000. If you're worried I'm also missing your question just because it's hard to see it, give us a small gift. Doesn't need to be a lot. That way a little icon shows up next to your name, allows it to stand out. I answer all of those first. It also makes it stand out in the chat. So ETN, Dobbins, or Moss? I'll go with Moss. Only because I'm worried about Dobbins' health on that one, Jordan. If Dobbins is a full go, I might lean towards Dobbins, but at least for now, I'd go Moss. Schultz or Goddard? I'd go Goddard, Jay. Minshew or Goff? That's an interesting one. I might lean towards Minshew on that one. In your flex, you have Swift or McLaurin. I'll lean slightly towards DeAndre Swift, just slightly. Trevor Lawrence, Purdy, or Russ? Ooh, man. That is brutal. I don't know. That's a tough one. I don't really have a good answer on that one. I really don't like any of them. I wish you could go find someone off the waiver wire rolling. ETN, over under 65.5 rushing yards. I could see the over hitting only because I think the Jaguars are going to have to rely on the run game in the weather tonight. My only concern is he going to get banged up and get taken out of this game. I feel like every time I trust Travis Etienne, he ultimately gets hurt. That's my one concern about him. Boston asks Taysom Hill or Cole Kmet. I'd go Taysom Hill. Make sure you're hitting that like button. Once we get up to 15,000 likes, we'll do another quick poll. Minshew, Purdy, Watson, or Zach Wilson? I'd go Minshew, Sammy. Noah Boyer asks Keenan Allen, DK Metcalf. I'd go DK Metcalf. And then Goddard or Waller? I'd lean slightly towards Waller, Noah. Dat Boy should be there for that. And I may be having some connection issues from time to time. Please bear with us. Field. Make sure you're hitting that like button. Once we get up to 15,000 likes, we do a quick poll. Fournette or Murray? I'll lean towards Murray just slightly. Rashad White or Zay Jones? I like Rashad White more. Mixon or McKinnon? I'd go McKinnon. Watson or Ayuk? I would go with Watson. Zonovan Knight, Zach Moss, Amari Cooper? I would go with Zach Moss. Make sure you're following us at Fumble Sports on TikTok, Instagram, and on YouTube. Wilson or Godwin? Owen, I would go with Godwin. Gorilla asks Zach Moss, Foreman, Jamal Williams. Two starters, I would go with Moss, and I'd go with Foreman and I'd go with Williams. Foreman and Williams. Appreciate all of you guys supporting us. Make sure you're following us at Fumble Sports. And if you're with Foreman and I'd go with Williams. Foreman and Williams. Just give us a small gift. Doesn't need to be a lot. 977. Which two should I start? Knox, Schultz, or Njoku? Well, Knox and Njoku have really bad weather situations. High winds, Jay West. I would try and find another tight end. I like Schultz, but I don't like Knox or Njoku. I feel like the wind could really impact the passing games in their two games. Okay, Danny asks Goodwin or Cooper. If it's Marquise Goodwin, you're just worried about, he's got an ankle injury, I believe. He's on the injury list, so you want to make sure he's healthy. Otherwise, I would lean towards Goodwin. Okay, Jay Brooks XC asks no Lamar or Hurts, so Foles or Trace McSorley. Oh man, what a brutal spot to be in. Let me commiserate with you for just a second. So sorry that's your situation. Let me commiserate with you for just a second. So sorry that's your situation. Brutal. I'm just gonna trust. I shouldn't put it that way. I should put it like Saint Nick, giving you some gifts on Cobra 1985. Asked Browns or Jaguars defense. I'll lean slightly towards the Browns defense, just given how that weather's going to be in Cleveland. Appreciate all of you guys supporting us and joining us. Make sure you hit that like button and make sure you're following us at Fumble Sports. And of course, give us a gift. Kramer Brody asks Knight or Swift. The reason I say give a gift, Kramer Brody gave that gift. Now a little icon shows up. He asks Knight or Swift. The reason I say give a gift, Kramer Brody gave that gift. Now a little icon shows up next to the name. I can see it every time. Makes it super easy. So Kramer Brody asks Knight or Swift. I would go with Swift. Appreciate all of you joining us at Fumble Sports on TikTok, Instagram, and YouTube, and at Sports Fumble on Twitter. Godwin or Zay Jones. Now I'm not going to answer because you told me to hurry. Sam, Kamara or Sanders? I'll go with Sanders. Not going to get gaslit or trolled here. Appreciate all the support you guys show us. Make sure you're following us at Fumble Sports on TikTok, Instagram, and YouTube, and at Sports Fumble on Twitter. Jay West asked Rodgers or Tua. I'll go with Tua just slightly. Thanks, Jay Brooks. I appreciate it. No Hurts, Minshew, Purdy, or Tom Brady. I would go with Tom Brady. Swift or Mixon. I'll lean just slightly towards Swift. Once we hit 15,000 likes, we'll do another quick poll. We have another hour to go with our show, taking you up until kickoff of tonight's game between the Jaguars and the Jets. Make sure you're following us. Make sure you're sharing us. And, of course, hit that like button. D-Hop, T. Higgins, or Garrett Wilson. I'll go with T. Higgins, big chess. Levy asks Pacheco or Dobbins. I'll go with Pacheco. Appreciate you guys supporting us so much. Thank you so much for all the support you show us. Drew asks A.J. Dillon, Rashad White, or David Montgomery. I'll lean slightly towards Rashad White over David Montgomery. Just slightly, I'd go with Rashad White. Simon asks Garrett Wilson, Chris Godwin, Mike Williams, Kamara, Etienne, or Dobbins. Wow, we got a lot going on in that one. I'll go with Godwin. Jawan Johnson or Mark Andrews. Sketchy Steven, I'd go with Mark Andrews. Make sure you're following, make sure you're sharing, and hit that like button. Once we hit 15,000 likes, we'll do a quick poll. David Montgomery or Amari Cooper. Everett, I would go with David Montgomery. Travis William asks Aaron Jones or Derek Carr, Aaron Rodgers or Derek Carr. I'll lean just slightly towards Derek Carr. Evan Ingram, Gallup, or Pickens. Billy, I would go with George Pickens. Too much swag, asks Rashad White or Algier. I'll lean slightly towards Rashad White. Zach Wilson or Nick Foles. I had Hurts. Yeah, sorry about that. I would go with Zach Wilson. Can't believe I'm saying it, but he's had some good games actually at home this year. Myers, Goddard, or Johnson. I'll lean slightly towards Goddard. Goff or Jones. I'll lean slightly towards Goff. Appreciate all of you joining us. Make sure you follow us. Once we hit 15,000 likes, we'll do a quick poll. And make sure you're sharing us with other sports fans that you know. Jordan asked, do you think the Jaguars defense will do well in this weather? I think they'll do okay. To have if I'm the Jets coordinator. Dink and dunk, run the ball, don't take big chances down the field. So I actually think it kind of plays into the Jets' favor. Ryan asked Zeke or Montgomery. I would go with Zeke. D-Hop or Miles Sanders. I'll lean slightly towards Miles Sanders. Taysom Hill or Dawson Knox. I'll go with Taysom Hill. Appreciate all of you guys joining us, supporting us. Make sure you share the channel with others at Fumble Sports. And of course, give us a watch on YouTube as well at Fumble Sports. Now that we've hit 15,000 likes, let's do another quick poll around tonight's game. This one has to do with Evan Ingram. You guys have been talking or asking a lot about Evan Ingram tonight. Here's the player prop bet that we're going to do for tonight's poll around Evan Ingram. Will Evan Ingram have over or under 4.5 receptions? That's what Vegas has his line set at. Over under 4.5 receptions for Evan Ingram. Over plus 125, the under is minus 165. You can hear where Vegas is in the odds, but that might be a good bet. He's had a couple of weeks of over 4.5. What's your thinking? Over 4.5 receptions, smiley face. Under 4.5 receptions, crying face. Here we go. Quick poll. Will Evan Ingram have over or under 4.5 receiving yards? Smiling face over, crying face under. Ingram has at least 5 catches in 3 straight games, but that said, the over is the underdog in this one at plus 125. Over under 4.5 receptions for Evan Ingram is our quick poll question because we hit 15,000 likes. This is a tight one. You guys are really on the fence on it. Will Evan Ingram have over or under 4.5 receptions? Smiley face is over, crying face is under. This is a tight one. Really interested to see where this one comes down. Make sure you're following us at Fumble Sports on TikTok, Instagram, and on YouTube. Smiling face over, crying face under. Will Evan Ingram have over or under 4.5 receptions? Let us know what you think in this quick poll. Smiling face over, crying face under, 4.5 receptions for Ingram. And just barely, the over takes it. Really interested to see where this one goes. The over is getting plus money, plus 125. That said, Evan Ingram does have 5 catches in 3 straight games. Once we get to another 5,000 likes, we'll do another quick poll. So once we get up to 20,000 likes, we'll do another quick poll. I'll tease this one a little bit. It's about the quarterbacks. Just Max 49, start 2. Ayuk, Christian Watson, or Juju. I would go with Watson and Juju, Max. Tua or Burrow. I got to go with Joe Burrow. He's just too hot right now, and even on the road, he's good. Uncle A, 415. Jackson or Detroit defense, please and thank you. We've got you. I would go with the Detroit defense. They've been playing better of late. I think they could have a difficult time with DJ Moore, but I'm starting to trust them a little bit. Trevor Lawrence or Justin Fields. Emmett, I actually lean just slightly towards Fields. I think he could create problems for the Bills with his running ability, even with that wind. I think it kind of plays into his favor. West Brown 5 asks Ingram or Goddard. I would go with Goddard. Josh, who gave us a gift earlier, and now there's a little icon next to his name, making it really easy to see it. Thank you so much, Josh, for your support. He asks McCaffrey, Jacobs, McKinnon, Harris, pick 2 in a non-PPR. Okay, the 2 I would go with are McKinnon and Josh Jacobs. Believe it or not, I would sit McCaffrey. Make sure you're following us at Fumble Sports. Jay West 977 asks, I have Adams and Matt Collins. Who should I trust? Devontae Adams. Make sure you're following us. Make sure you're sharing us. And make sure you're hitting that like button as many times as you can. Purdy, Gardner Minshew, because you had Hurts. Big Ninja 2, I'm going Gardner Williams or Zay Jones. I'd go Jamal Williams. Dog FC1 asks Pacheco or Ricky James. I'd go with Pacheco. Make sure you're hitting that like button after I answer your question. Oh, it's Josh asks pick 2, Fournette, Knight, Cordero Patterson, or James Cook. I would go with James Cook, and I'd lean just slightly towards Bam Knight. If you're worried that I'm missing your question, just give us a small gift. A little icon shows up next to your name, makes it really easy for me to answer your question every time. With Lamar out, who should I pick up? Number of quarterbacks who might be worth it, whether it's Kenny Pickett, Daniel Jones, number of quarterbacks that are out there on the waiver wire that might be worth picking up. Freiermuth or Goddard? I'll lean just slightly towards Freiermuth. Appreciate that, William. I'll get to your question in just a second. Thank you so much for the support. Schultz or Warren? I would go with Schultz. We have about an hour left of our show. Make sure you're following us at Fumble Sports. ETN tonight or ETN tonight or Aaron Jones, asked William after he gave us that Jones BZS Chapes. Don't know which one it is. Pick 2, PPR, ETN Pacheco, Garrett Wilson. I'll go with Pacheco and Garrett Wilson. Damn. Ingram or Waller? I'd go Waller. If you're worried that I don't see your chat, just give us a small gift. Doesn't need to be a lot. A little icon shows up. And they ask their question, a little icon shows up, makes it really easy to find them. Jared Goff or Aaron Rodgers. I'd lean just slightly towards Aaron Rodgers. Appreciate all the support you guys show us. Make sure you're following us at Fumble Sports. Oh, it's Van Jefferson, Josh. It's Van Jefferson. Okay. My concern is Hardman healthy? If Hardman's healthy, I would go with Hardman, but it's looking unlikely. It's looking like he's unlikely to play, and that's according to 2 hours ago. So, Josh, I would lean slightly towards Van Jefferson. Wait a minute. Wait. Whoa. Wait. Whoa. Before no. I take that back. Whoa. I take that back. Josh, I spoke too soon. Thank you for catching me before, or I caught myself. Josh, you want to go with Zay Jones tonight. You're not going to like it. You're going to have to hold your nose and hope he gets an anytime touchdown. But Van Jefferson's going up against the Broncos secondary. I forgot that. You don't want that. Hardman's not playing. Van Jefferson's a bad matchup. I don't like Zay Jones, but he's the best of those three, Josh. Van Jefferson's a bad matchup. I don't like Zay Jones, but he's the best of those three, Josh. Answering all of your fantasy questions. I just saw someone else's question who just gave us a gift. Rob Stan 34, thank you so much for your support. Jared Goff or Trevor Lawrence. I'm going to lean just slightly towards Goff because the matchup Lawrence has tonight against the Jets. Make sure you're hitting that like button as well. Let's get up to 20,000 likes, and we'll do another quick poll around the two quarterbacks, a question around the two quarterbacks tonight. Ingram or Goddard? I'd go Goddard. Njoku or Goddard? I'd go Goddard. Mixon or ETN? Colby, I would go with Joe Mixon. Murray or Bam Knight? I lean just slightly towards Latavius Murray, Nick Jordan. Zay Jones or Marquise Goodwin? I'd go with Marquise Goodwin. He could have a good opportunity to play with Lockett out, so I think he could get a lot of opportunities against a bad Chiefs secondary. Explain why Schultz over Warren. Schultz has good stats at home this year. I think he could have a good game. I could see him getting or Rob Unk. Pick 2, Chubb, Eckler, or Aaron Jones. I'd go with Eckler, and I would go with or Rob Unk. Pick 2, Chubb. I'd go with Eckler, and I'd go with Eckler, and I would go with Chubb. Make sure you're following. For someone crazy like that tonight, like literally, that actually might not be a bad bet. Is Jermichael Hasty? I could also see Bam Knight getting it. You know, usually the anytime touchdown is a terrible bet. It's usually just a way of Vegas, like just stealing money from your pocket. So I usually try to avoid those. Tamadre 13, Pacheco or Dobbins, I would go with Pacheco. Lenny, Pacheco or Murray, I would go with Pacheco. Dog, FC1, why do you like Minshew so much? For a couple of reasons. One, a lot of injuries in that Cowboys secondary. They've gotten passed on the last 2 weeks. We've seen it. They're getting exposed. Minshew, when he's come in and played over the last few years, he has good production, very composed. And then just a little piece of, I don't want to say Minshew magic because it's insensitive, but this guy just gave the eulogy at Mike Leach's funeral this week. You don't think he's emotionally charged? You don't think there's something hanging on in the air? I wouldn't be surprised if the Eagles came out and had a really good game from a passing standpoint. ETN or Kenneth Walker III? Well, I'm worried Kenneth Walker III is not going to be healthy, or otherwise I would go with him. But unfortunately, because I'm worried about his health, I have to say ETN strictly gray. Okay, GS Choder 5, Ingram or Waller? I'd go Waller. Make sure you're following us at Fumble Sports on TikTok, Instagram, and YouTube. Carly asked, what's my favorite team? Well, I've worked in sports media about 15 years, so at this point, I just love the sport itself. I really don't have a favorite team. Rich Rob 88 asked, Dak or Fields? I would lean slightly towards Dak. Appreciate all the support you guys show us. Make sure you're following us at Fumble Sports on TikTok, Instagram, and YouTube. Kyle, thank you so much for supporting us. You're absolutely awesome, man. Fabian asks, Christian Watson, Christian Kirk, or David Montgomery? I would go with Christian Watson. Thank you so much, Kyle. So appreciate the support you guys are showing us. Your boy Jonah, your boy Jonah 1, Joe Burrow or Tua? I would go with Joe Burrow. Thank you so much, guys, for supporting us. We so appreciate all you guys do. We're a brand new sports content network. And thank you so much, guys, for supporting us. We so appreciate all you guys do. We're a brand new sports content network, and we're all here for you. We believe the fans should never be number 2. Joe asks, E.T. Jones. I would go with Adam Thielen. Make sure you're hitting that like. Christian Watson, Raheem Mostert, or Amari Cooper? I would lean just slightly towards Christian Watson, though I also like Mostert. Jackson, thank you so much for the support. You definitely make us better. Coup or Folk? Coup or Folk? I'll lean slightly towards Coup. Zay Jones or Bam Knight? I'd go with Bam Knight. Would I play Garrett Wilson tonight? I'd lean slightly towards playing him just based off of the matchups I had. It really depends. Drew Bay asks, pick 2, J.K. Dobbins, ETN, or Kenneth Walker III. Drew Bay asks, pick 2, J.K. Dobbins, ETN, or Kenneth Walker III. I'm worried about Kenneth Walker III's health, so the question is kind of answered for me. I'd go J.K. Dobbins and ETN. Montgomery or ETN? Dua Wood? I would do Montgomery in that case. Braxton asks, with Hurts out, Zach Wilson, Darnold, or Deshaun Watson? I'll lean just slightly towards Sam Darnold going up against the Detroit Lions. Hubboy369 asks, Christian Kirk or Lamb? I'd go CD Lamb. Thank you so much, guys, for joining us. Make sure Hubboy369 asks, Christian Kirk or Lamb? I'd go CD Lamb. Thank you so much, guys, for joining us. Make sure you hit that like button. Let's get up to 20,000 likes and do another poll. Your boy Jonah asks, Keenan Allen or CD Lamb? I'll lean slightly towards Keenan Allen, just slightly. Jackson Jones, who's been a huge supporter of us tonight. First, let me just say thank you, Jackson. Really appreciate you supporting us. Your question is Zay Jones or T. Higgins. Jackson, that's an easy one for me. I would go with T. Higgins. Find it in the chat. Sometimes they get lost. Like people put like little shapes or colors in there. It literally doesn't help as much. That's actually almost more distracting. Your boy Jonah, CeeDee Lamb, Judy, or Zay Jones. I would go with CeeDee Lamb. Goff or Watson. Caden, I would go with Goff. Terry McLaurin or Zay Jones. Terry McLaurin, Mike Evans or Zay Jones. Brandon, I would go with Mike Evans. Brandon Kramer, I would go with Mike Evans. Jay Kern, 58, asks Knight, Lenny, Singletary, or Moss in a pick 2. I would go with Singletary, and I would go with Moss. Kyle asks Joe Mixon, A.J. Dillon, or Garrett Wilson. Ooh, that's a tough one. I lean just slightly, I think, towards Garrett Wilson tonight, believe it or not, with Joe Mixon being number 2. Appreciate all you guys supporting us. Make sure you're following us at number 2. Appreciate all you guys supporting us. Make sure you're following us at number 2. On TikTok, at Fumble Sports on TikTok, Instagram, and YouTube. And hit that like button. Make sure you're following us. McKinnon or Knight. I would go with McKinnon. Goose, like that's nope, don't like it. Bad news. Vaughn, I think it's Vaughn. Vaughn with a 6 asks ETN or Juju Smith-Schuster. I would go with Juju Smith-Schuster. Sean asks Waller or Ingram. I'd go with Waller. Merry Christmas to you. I hope all of you are doing well in this holiday season. Make sure you give the gift of sports talk at Fumble Sports. Hit that share button. Share it with other sports fans that you know, whether it's family, friends, co-workers. We're 25,000 followers on TikTok. Thanks to all of you, one by one, following us, joining us, supporting us. We really couldn't do this without you, so thank you so much for the support. Kyle Evans, 93, you've been a supporter tonight. I certainly want to say thank you, Kyle. Your question is half PPR, Ingram or Waller. Kyle, I would go with Waller. Zach, you can check out some of our favorite player prop bets tonight at Sports Fumble on Twitter. We publish those, or at Fumble Sports on Instagram. Zach, if you want to get some of our player prop bets as well, hit that like button. Once we hit 20,000 likes, we'll do another quick poll, and I will tie it to one of my player prop bets tonight. Sign Shun asks Kirk or Jerry Jeudy. Believe it or not, I would go with Jerry Jeudy. Nobody Knows 2290 asks Trevor Lawrence or Derek Carr. I would go with Derek Carr. A Stone 1220 asks Lost Hurts. Options are Trevor Lawrence, Goff, Minshew, Carr, Rodgers, Watson, Purdy, in a 10-man 2 QB limit. I'd go Derek Carr and Rodgers as the 2. Appreciate all the support you guys show us, including Jack Stevens 44, who asks, hell, playoffs, Christian Kirk, Watson, or Mike Evans. I'll lean just slightly towards Christian Kirk. I like Evans and Watson, so I wish you could start both, but I'll lean just slightly towards Christian Kirk. Thank you so much, Razorback fan. I'll answer your question once you throw it in the chat now that you gave that gift. Wilson or Godwin asks CH 20812. I'd go with Godwin. Your boy Jonah asks Carter or Etienne. I would go with Etienne, Jonah. Sign Shun, appreciate you supporting us. Make sure you're hitting that like button and make sure you're following us at Fumble Sports. And of course, Minshew or Carr. I lean slightly towards Carr. Ingram or Waller. I'd go Waller. Christian Kirk or Deontay Johnson. I'll lean slightly towards Deontay Johnson. Make sure you're following us at ButtFumble Sports. You never want to miss a time we go live. Lawrence or Goff. I lean towards Goff. Pharaoh 7 asks Jets defense or Browns defense. I'll lean slightly towards the Browns defense. ZK or Zay Jones, and should I start Lamb? Start CeeDee Lamb and start DK Metcalf. Make sure you're sharing us at ButtFumble Sports on TikTok, Instagram, and YouTube, and hit that like button. Let's get up to 20,000. CeeDee Lamb and start DK Metcalf. Make sure you're sharing us at ButtFumble Sports on TikTok, Instagram, and YouTube, and hit that like button. Let's get up to 20,000 likes so we can do that quick. Purdy or Goff. I'll lean towards Goff. DJ Moore or Garrett Wilson. Ooh, that's a tough one for me. I'll lean slightly towards DJ Moore. Alex asks Lawrence or Rodgers. I'm going with Rodgers. Make sure you're following us at ButtFumble Sports, and of course, hit that like button. Lawrence or Rodgers. I'm going with Rodgers. Make sure you're following towards Juju, Anthony Hernandez. Ingram or Hawkinson. That's one and only Kenji. I would go with Hawkinson for sure. Bam Knight or Latavius Murray. I lean slightly towards Latavius Murray. B. Rigger 27 asks Garrett Wilson or T. Higgins. I'd go with T. Higgins. Make sure you're following us at ButtFumble Sports. My opponent is playing Trevor Lawrence. Should I play Christian Kirk rather? No, you shouldn't. Don't take the bait. Zay Jones tonight. Kevin, I'm not crazy about him. Not a matchup necessarily that I really like. Make sure you're following us at ButtFumble Sports on TikTok, Instagram, and YouTube, and at SportsFumble on Twitter. We're going to do a lot of TikTok lives this week. You don't want to miss when we go live, so make sure you're following. Make sure you're subscribing. Juju Smith-Schuster or S. Smith at flex. Who's S. Smith? Who's S. Smith? In that case, I'm going Juju because I don't know who it is. Garrett Wilson or Travis Etienne. I would go with Garrett Wilson, Beanie Boy. Garrett Wilson, Beanie Boy. I'm so cool. Waller or Schultz in a PPR, I'd go Waller. Alex asked DeAndre Hopkins or DJ Moore. I'd go DJ Moore. Appreciate all of you joining us. Make sure you're following us at ButtFumble Sports on TikTok, Instagram, and YouTube. And guys, let's get up to 20,000 likes. Let's do that poll. Make sure you're hitting that like button as many times as you can. We've been sitting down here between 15 and 20,000 for a while. Let's make sure we get there. Bet Bullish, make sure you hit us up. Make sure you DM us at ButtFumble Sports on Instagram and at SportsFumble on Twitter. If you guys have questions, if you guys want to hit us up off of our lives, make sure you're hitting us up at ButtFumble Sports on TikTok, Instagram, and on YouTube, and at SportsFumble on Twitter. Ryan asks Ayuk or Knight or Fournette. Not crazy about either one, but again, compadre, I would go with Knight. It's Josh asks Knight or Mostert. I would go with Mostert. Let's get up to 20,000 likes. Keep hitting that like button as many times as you can. Evan Ingram looking good. Not really. I think he's going to get 3 catches for like 35 receiving yards, if you're lucky. For you, I really hope it's just getting into the end zone. Okay. Miss Fugate 1, who gave us a gift earlier, asked Zay a good start in this weather tonight. Not crazy about the weather and really don't like Jack Thompson. You asked Zay Jones or Rachaad White. For that very reason, I would lean towards Rachaad White. Make sure I would lean towards Rachaad White. Make sure you're following us at ButtFumble Sports. The weather conditions for tonight's game, mile-per-hour winds, but at MetLife Stadium, that can be swirling at one end of the end zone And we do expect rain, though it will be slightly warmer, between 45 and 50 degrees for this one. It's supposed to warm up actually ETN, only if it really depends on who else you have, Roland. He's not a terrible start, but there may be some other options. Cooper asks, maybe some other options. Cooper asks, Zay Jones or T. Higgins? Maybe some other options. Cooper asks, Zay Jones or T. Higgins? I'd go with T. Higgins. Of that handle, but Cooks, Goodwin, or Sutton, I'd go Goodwin. Sometimes these names are hilarious, and sometimes these handles are like, oh, I shouldn't say that. I'm going to get in serious trouble. Okay, Duncan Beefy has Tom Brady or Fields. I'd go with Tom Brady. Lawrence or Dak Prescott. I'd go with Dak Prescott, Tristan. Sanders or Pacheco. Sean, I'd go Pacheco. John Gonzalez asks, is Etienne a start this week? I think he's a borderline start. It really depends on who else you have. Tristan Floy or Try, or I don't know which one that is. Pacheco or Kirk, I'd go Pacheco. Zonovan Knight or Fournette, I lean slightly towards Zonovan Knight. Brock Purdy or Geno Smith. Ryan, I'd go Geno Smith. Make sure you're following us at Fumble Sports on TikTok and on YouTube. And if you want to hit us up off of our TikTok lives, make sure you also follow us on Instagram. You can always hit us up on a DM at Fumble Sports. Goddard or Zay Jones. I lean slightly towards Goddard, Jack. Appreciate the share, Drake. Really appreciate that. We're growing one by the support we get from you guys. Kittle or Everett. I lean towards Everett. And now that we've hit 20,000 likes, I appreciate all you guys supporting us. Let's do a quick poll. This quick poll has to do with the two quarterbacks tonight. So here's the quick poll tonight. Which quarterback will have more passing yards? Which quarterback will have more passing yards? Smiling face, Trevor Lawrence. Crying face, Zach Wilson. Which quarterback will have more passing yards tonight? Smiling face, Trevor Lawrence. Crying face, Zach Wilson. Let's do the quick poll and go. Which quarterback will have more passing yards tonight? Smiling face Trevor Lawrence. Crying face Zach. Which quarterback will have more passing yards tonight? Context, Vegas has Lawrence at minus 140 and Zach Wilson at even. Which quarterback will have more passing yards tonight? Smiling face Trevor Lawrence, crying face Zach Wilson. For reference, last week, Trevor Lawrence only had one more passing yard than Zach Wilson did. Just one more. So, smiling face Trevor Lawrence, crying face Zach Wilson. Which quarterback will have more passing yards tonight? Doing a quick poll. Now that we've hit 20,000, every time we hit another 5,000, we do a quick poll. This one has to do with the two quarterbacks. Will Trevor Lawrence or Zach Wilson have more passing yards tonight? Smiling face, only a few seconds left. And by a pretty wide margin, you guys think it's Trevor Lawrence. He's got the tougher matchup, so we'll see. Margin, you guys think it's Trevor Lawrence. He's got the tougher matchup. Giving us a fun giving season. Give the gift of sports talk with friends, family, and coworkers. Hit that share button. And if you're worried that we're missing your chat, or you just want me to get to your question right away, just give us a small gift. A little icon shows up next to your name. Makes it really easy for me to find you in the chat. Trey Wenger 96 asks, Andrews or okay, I always get his name wrong. Weem03 asks, Schultz, Goddard, or Waller. I would go with Waller. Jack asks, Etienne or McKinnon. I would go with McKinnon. If we hit 25,000 likes, we will do another quick poll. Speaking of that quick poll, it has to do with Trevor Lawrence, so you don't want to miss that one. Make sure you hit that like button. Let's get up to 20,000 or 25,000 likes. Once we do, it will be a quick poll around a player prop bet involving Trevor Lawrence, so you don't want to miss that one. Make sure you're hitting that like button. Why is everyone saying bench Ingram? Between the weather tonight and I think a Jets defense that's pretty good against the pass, it's part of the reason I'm saying that. CJ asks, Pacheco, Keenan Allen, or Christian Watson? I lean just slightly towards Pacheco, though I do like Allen and Watson. I lean slightly towards Pacheco against that Seahawks run defense. Watson or Amari Cooper, still not Austin. I'd go Christian Watson. Make sure you're hitting that like button. Let's get up to 25,000 likes. I have a player prop bet associated with this quick poll, so you won't want to miss it. Lanksy asks, Juju or Watson? I'd go Christian Watson. Alex asks, Keenan Allen or Waddle? I'll lean just slightly towards Waddle. Pick two and or Waddle. I'll lean just slightly towards Waddle. Pick two, Dobbins, Etienne, Robinson, White, Kirk. Okay, I'll go with Dobbins and I'll go with Rashad White. At the tight end position, I lean towards Kittle. Make sure you're following us at Fumble Sports on TikTok, Instagram, and YouTube. Hit that like button. And of course, share us as well. Be a mensch. Share the gift of sports talk. Etienne or Zach Moss? Nicholas, I lean towards Zach Moss just slightly. The OG Fleck, Zay Jones, Ayuk, or Christian Kirk? Really don't like any of them. I really don't like any of them. I probably lean towards Zay Jones, maybe. A.J. Dillon or Rashad White? I'd go with Rashad White. Once we hit 25,000 likes, we will do another quick poll that's associated with a player prop bet that I like. You don't want to miss that one, so we got about 20 minutes. X more. X more. I'd go. Small gift doesn't need to be a lot. A little icon shows up next to your name, allows me to answer your question right away. Eric asks, Joe Burrow or Justin Fields? I'd go with Joe Burrow. Dat Boy Sean, ETN ran all over the Cowboys. Do you think Miles Sanders can replicate it? Not to the same extent, but yes, I do think Miles Sanders can have a good game, Sean. Brashier asks, Juju or Devontae Smith? I'm going to lean just slightly towards Devontae Smith, just slightly. D. Richardson 316 asks, ETN or Kirk? I'll lean just slightly towards ETN. Marcus Stello 0 asks, Jawan Johnson or Dallas Goedert? I'm going Dallas Goedert. This one will be associated with a player prop bet that I really like for tonight's game. You don't want to miss this one. Make sure you're hitting that like button as many times as you can. Trev, thank you so much for the support. Drake's 8. Trev, thank you so much for the support. Drake's 850 asks Waddle or Zay Jones. I definitely go with Waddle. Christian Kirk or Garrett Wilson. 850 asks Waddle or Zay Jones. I definitely go with Waddle. Christian Kirk or Garrett Wilson. Hunter, I'd go with Garrett Wilson. Slightly towards Zeke, only because he's been good for an anytime touchdown so consistently. Andres asks Hill, Juwan Johnson, Komet, or Waller. I would definitely go with Waller. Again, once we hit 25,000 likes, we'll do a quick poll associated with a player prop bet that I like for tonight's game. So make sure you're hitting that like button. Blake Cotton 6 asks Bam or Gerald Everett. I'd go Gerald Everett. Beard 1313 asks OK. Cotton 6 asks Bam or Gerald Everett. I'd go Gerald Everett. OK or Hill. I'd go with Hill. I'm Darho asks T. Higgins or ETN. I'd go with T. Higgins. Make sure you're hitting that like button at Fumble Sports on TikTok, T. Higgins or ETN. Lightly, but I really don't like either one. Make sure you're hitting that like button at Fumble Sports on TikTok, Instagram, and YouTube. And that's Josiah Vincent 1. How do you feel about Wilson tonight? I think he's going to hit his over total receiving yards, which is set right now at 52.5. So that is a player prop bet that I like. The question is, can Wilson get to like 75 yards, maybe even a touchdown? I like it more being around 65, 70. Since Lamar Jackson is around 65, 70. Since Lamar Jackson is a couple guys who may be worth picking up. Jets defense or Bills defense? I definitely go with the Slockley 8. Appreciate all of you joining us. Make sure you follow us at Fumble Sports on TikTok, Instagram, and YouTube, and at Sports Fumble on Twitter. And if you give a gift, just like Mason did, a little icon shows up next to your name, makes it really easy to answer your question in the chat. Mason asks, Dotson, Goodwin, Osborne, or Zay Jones. Believe it or not, I'd go Marquise Goodwin. Just make sure he's healthy. He's been listed on the injury report, but if he's healthy, it's a good matchup for him against the Kansas City Chiefs. I'd go Marquise Goodwin. Just make sure he's healthy. He's been listed on the injury report, but if he's healthy, it's a good matchup for him against the Kansas City Chiefs. Danny gave us a gift just a moment ago, and now his question comes up right away. Happy to answer it for you, Danny. Ingram or Goddard? I would definitely go with his question comes up right away. Happy to answer it for you, Danny. Ingram or Goddard? I would definitely go with Goddard, Danny. Appreciate all the support you guys show us. Make sure you guys are following us at Fumble Sports. Okay, Z Cook 17 asks Titans defense or Jaguars defense? I'll lean slightly. We're going to do a quick poll. Get your guys' take on a quick question that is associated with a player prop bet that I really like tonight. You don't want to miss that one. Make sure you're hitting that like button. Thank you, Trev. Appreciate 5,000 likes. We're going to do a quick poll. Get your guys' take on a quick question. Make sure you're hitting that like button. Thank you, Trev. Appreciate all the support you guys show us. Make sure you're hitting that like button. Thank you, Trev. Appreciate the support you guys show us. Make sure you're hitting that like button. Thank you. What defense would I pick up off the waiver wire? Consider the Chargers defense. You might want to also consider the Denver Broncos if they're available. And of course, the Tampa Bay Buccaneers going up against the Arizona Cardinals. 3 defenses you should definitely consider. Danny, can you repeat bad reception? Sorry about that, Danny. Appreciate your support. I know I'm having some tech issues, so want to answer who I'd go with at tight end. Dallas Goedert. Jordan, thank you so much for the support. We're so grateful for the community that we have. You guys are absolutely incredible. Thank you so much. Thank you so much for the support. We're so grateful for the community that we have. You guys we continue to grow. Jordan, who just gave us that gift, Jordan and Johnson, Appreciate all that support. Or Jordan N. Johnson. Sorry about that, Jordan. Didn't mean to do that to you. Jordan's question is Evan Ingram or Mark Andrews. Ooh, that's a tough one for me. I'll lean just slightly towards Mark Andrews, just slightly. Trev McCarthy asks, should I grab Dulcich, Bellinger, Taysom Hill over Ingram? Bellinger is actually the one I would go with. He's got a really favorable matchup. Taysom Hill would be the other one I'd consider, but Bellinger could be a really good play. PPR pick 2, I'd go DJ Moore and Zeke. Make sure you're following us at Fumble Sports. Jay Addison asks, bench 2, Gibson, White, Patterson, or Jones. If I'm benching 2, it would be Gibson and Patterson. Thank you, Jordan. Appreciate the support you guys show us. The Fumble Sports community is absolutely incredible. Make sure you're hitting that like button. Once we hit 25,000 likes, we're going to do a quick poll. We will get to a quick poll that has to do about tonight's game. Has to do with one of the quarterbacks in tonight's game at that. Big Pen, Ingram, Waller, or Kmet. I would go with Waller. Make sure you're following us at Fumble Sports on TikTok, Instagram, and YouTube, and at Sports Fumble on Twitter. Fantastic Kolos asks Dobbins, Zeke, Sanders, Pacheco, bench one. The one I would probably bench would be J.K. Dobbins just because he's been a little bit banged up, worried about him not being available. Jordan, thank you so much for the support. So appreciate the support you're showing me tonight. Jay Green, 87. Goff, Daniel Jones, or Aaron Rodgers. I lean just slightly towards Aaron Rodgers, Jay Green. IP Murphy asks, Jets defense or Browns defense? I'd go with the Browns defense in bad weather conditions. 307 Raider asks, Purdy or Lawrence? Not crazy about either one of them, really. I think I might go slightly towards Lawrence. BJ asks, sit one, Watson, Jerry Jeudy, or McLaurin? I would sit Jeudy. DJ Rockefeller asks, Zay Jones, Lazard, or Deontay Johnson? I'll go with Deontay Johnson. Schultz or Ingram, big body Cisco? I would go with Dalton Schultz. Make sure you're hitting that like button. Once we hit 25,000 likes, we'll do a quick poll. It's related to one of the quarterbacks in tonight's game and a player prop bet that I really like for tonight's game. You want that one with about 10 minutes, 15 minutes before we sign off. So make sure you're hitting that like button. You don't want to miss out on it. Disney Dad 55, Zach Moss or Foreman? I'll lean just slightly towards Moss. Cohen asks Goddard, Freiermuth, or Ingram? I'll lean slightly towards Freiermuth. Zach Wilson or Darnold? I'll go with Darnold. Zonovan Knight, Akers, or Foreman? I'll lean slightly on that one towards Foreman. ETN or Mixon? You got Zay Jones. I'm going to go with Mixon. T. Higgins or Christian Kirk? I'd go with T. Higgins, hot grannies. ETN, Kamara, or Godwin? I would go with Godwin, Tyler. Tyler King, 17. I'd go with Godwin. Closing in on 25,000 likes. Once we get there, we'll do a quick poll that has to do with a player prop bet that I really like for tonight's game. Make sure you do that. Of course, make sure you're following us at Fumble Sports. We're going to be going live a lot in the next couple of days. You never miss a chance to get this opportunity to ask me questions or hear what other people are asking about. So make sure you're following and make sure you're subscribing on TikTok and on YouTube every time we go live. You'll never miss an opportunity to watch the show. Godwin or Moss? I'd go Godwin. Christian Kirk or Juju? I'd go Juju. ETN or Stevenson? I'd go Stevenson. Make sure you're following us at Fumble Sports on TikTok, Instagram, and YouTube. And if you're worried I'm not seeing your question, just do what LJack17 just did. You give a small gift, a little icon shows up next to your name, makes it really easy to find you every time you ask a question. For that one, Jack asked, Pickens or Hollins? I would go with Pickens. I'd go Pickens. Hollins just there are more wide receivers, more receivers in that passing game for the Raiders. More wide receivers, more receivers in that passing game for the Raiders. That's why I go in that direction. We've hit 25 likes because this Fumble Sports community is absolutely incredible. Before we do our poll, let me just say thank you. I'm so grateful for the support you guys show us. Now, let's do this quick poll. I will reveal my player prop bet after we do the poll, but first, here's the poll. Will Trevor Lawrence throw an interception tonight? Trevor Lawrence has put him 2, 3, 4, 5, 6. In his last 7 games, he only has 1 interception. Will Trevor Lawrence throw an interception tonight? Smiling face, no. Crying face, yes. Will Trevor Lawrence throw an interception tonight? Crying face, yes. Smiling face, no. Will Trevor Lawrence throw an interception tonight is our quick poll for 25,000 likes. And let's go. Will Trevor Lawrence throw an interception tonight? Smiling face, no. Crying face, yes. Smiling face, no. Crying face, yes. Will Trevor Lawrence throw an interception tonight? Crying face, yes. As in he will be crying if he throws an interception, or if he doesn't, he will be smiling. Which do you think it is? Will Trevor Lawrence throw an interception tonight? Yes or no? Yes is going off at minus 135, no at plus 105. Crying face, yes. Smiling face, no. Will Trevor Lawrence throw an interception tonight? A few more seconds left. Crying face, yes. Smiling face, no. Will Trevor Lawrence throw an interception tonight? This has to do with one of my favorite player prop bets of the night. And you guys agree with me now that you have your poll results coming in. I think Trevor Lawrence will. You guys agree with me now that you have your poll results coming in. I think Trevor Lawrence will throw an interception tonight. He hasn't thrown too many over the last few months, like I mentioned. But against the Jets secondary, and of course, in this rain, I expect him to throw an interception. He only has 2 picks on the road this year. I think he throws number 3 tonight. I like Trevor Lawrence over half an interception. I'm getting that at minus 135. Going to be doing our show for another 10 minutes or so, and then we'll sign off for Thursday Night Football. I'll come on after Thursday Night Football. We'll do another late night session just like we did last night. Well, I'll answer more of your fantasy questions for those West Coast viewers who are unable to join us as early as we went on tonight. Make sure you're following us at Fumble Sports on TikTok, Instagram, and YouTube. That way you'll know every time we go live, you never miss an opportunity to ask me questions. Getting back on TikTok, Instagram, and YouTube. That way you'll know every time we go live, you never miss an opportunity to ask me questions. Getting back to some of the questions in the chat. Rodgers or Minshew? I would go with Aaron Rodgers. Garrett Wilson, Devontae Smith, or Christian Watson? I'd go Christian Watson. Shred Winter asks Zach Wilson or Sam Darnold? I'd go with Sam Darnold. Yes, sir, by Rain. Sorry, or Raren Listen. Pittman or Zay Jones? I would go with Pittman. Zay Jones or Deontay Smith? Deontay Johnson. I would go with Deontay Johnson. Kirk. Some of these names, sorry, I screw up some of the names. You guys got some funky ones. Go with Kirk Cousins. It's Anch. Some of these names, sorry, I screw up some of the names. You guys got some funky ones. Make sure you're following us at Fumble Sports on TikTok, Instagram, and YouTube, and at Sports Fumble on Twitter. Who's playing tonight? It's the Jacksonville Jaguars against the New York Jets. I do like the Jets on the money line in this one. Jackson asks, pick 2, Kirk, McLaurin, or Juju. I like McLaurin and Juju. Devontae Smith or T. Higgins. I'd go with T. Higgins. Make sure you're following us at Fumble Sports on TikTok, Instagram, and YouTube. We're going to do a lot of TikTok lives over the next few days. You want to join us every time. Make sure you're following us at Fumble Sports on TikTok, Instagram, and YouTube. We're going to do a lot of TikTok lives over the next few days. You want to join us every time. ETN or Garrett Wilson? I'd go Garrett Wilson. Bam Knight or Ayuk? I lean towards Brandon Ayuk just slightly. Should I start Pacheco, Zay Jones, or Pittman at the flex? I'd start Pacheco. Jags defense or Philly defense? I lean slightly towards the Jaguars defense. Please answer Pollard and Zeke. Use both? Yep, I like it. Miles Sanders, David Montgomery, Jerick McKinnon. Pick 2. I'd go Jerick McKinnon, and I'd lean slightly towards Miles Sanders, Daddy Moose 3. Owen asks Christian Kirk tonight. Pittman. Etienne or Wilson, I'd go Wilson. Make sure you're following us at Butt Fumble Sports on TikTok, Instagram, and YouTube, and at Sports Fumble on Twitter. Coming down to the final few minutes of our show. We've been going for 2 hours straight. Can't believe we've gone through a show that fast. Make sure you're following us at Butt Fumble Sports on TikTok, Instagram, and YouTube. That way you'll know every time. Fields or Trevor Lawrence, I would go with Trevor Lawrence just slightly. Thank you so much for that gift of the sunglasses. I'll be able to find your question in the chat right away and be able to answer it. In the chat, I can get to your questions right away. Just like G. Canberra, next to your name makes it really easy to find you. In the chat, I can get to your questions right away. Just like G. Canberra, 1985 did. G. Canberra, thank you so much. They ask Browns defense or Jaguars defense. I would go with the Browns defense. Our channel and are willing to join in and watch us. We appreciate being a place you turn for entertainment. Pacheco or Etienne, I would go with Pacheco. Make sure you're following us and make sure you're hitting that share button. We want to grow one by one and we do it through you guys. So make sure you're sharing with other sports fans, whether they're coworkers, friends, or family. Coworkers, friends, or family. I might lean just slightly towards Christian Kirk given the weather in Chicago. Evan Ingram and Joko or Atkins. I'd go Ingram. Amari Cooper, Zay Jones, or Juju. I would lean just slightly towards Juju Smith-Schuster. Oh, I'm lagging. I'm sorry about that. We're having some tech issues. Doing the on TikTok, Instagram, and YouTube, and at Sports Fumble on Twitter. Another player prop bet that I like that I want to mention since we won't get to any other polls tonight. Trevor Lawrence. This one has to do with his passing attempts. Trevor Lawrence, one player prop bet that I really like. Trevor Lawrence under 33.5 passing attempts tonight. I'm getting that at minus 120. That's a player prop bet that I really like tonight. Trevor Lawrence under 33.5 passing attempts. One more time. That's Trevor Lawrence under 33.5 passing attempts. I'm getting that at minus 120. It's definitely a player prop bet that I really like tonight. Okay, JP Murphy 0 gave us a gift earlier, and so there's a little icon next to their name making it easy to find their question. They asked, JP Murphy 0 asked, Jets or Browns defense? I would go with the Browns defense. Make sure you're following us at Butt Fumble Sports on TikTok, Instagram, and Twitter. Coming down to the final few minutes of tonight's show. We've gone for 2 hours straight. So grateful for all the support you guys have shown us. Make sure you're following us. Just going to do a few more minutes. Ashton asks, Ingram or Waller? I'd go Waller. Big Nick Tosa asks, Trevor Lawrence or Tom Brady? I'd go with Tom Brady. Getting a question in from YouTube. Hey, Zay Jones or T. Higgins? I'd go with T. Higgins. Make sure you're also following and subscribing to us on YouTube at Butt Fumble Sports. We put out a lot of content every day. You don't want to miss it. D-Hop or Juju Smith-Schuster? I would go with Juju Smith-Schuster. Zach Moss or Zay Jones? Bobby, I would go with Zach Moss. Etienne or McKinnon? I'd go McKinnon. How do I feel about Justin Fields? Think he could put up some points on the ground with the rushing game, but because of that win and playing a good Bills defense, not crazy about him this week. Make sure you're following us at Butt Fumble Sports on TikTok. Not crazy about him this week. And of course, share Butt Fumble Sports with friends, family, and other sports fans. Hit that share button. We really appreciate you guys helping us grow. Minshew or Goff? I'd go with Goff just slightly. Etienne or Judy? I'm going to lean just slightly towards Etienne. Mixon or McKinnon? That's an easy one for me. I'd go McKinnon. Make sure you're following us at Butt Fumble Sports on TikTok, Instagram, and YouTube, and at Sports Fumble on Twitter. Just a few minutes left before we jump on later tonight. You don't want to miss that. Make sure you're following. Make sure you're subscribing. That way you'll know every time we go live. Sam I Am, who gave us a gift, asks, Walker, Mostert, White, or Moss? For me, it's Mostert, Sam. I would start Mostert. Make sure you're following us at Butt Fumble Sports. You don't want to miss us when we go live later tonight, tomorrow, and of course, Saturday and Sunday morning. There's no Christmas at Butt Fumble Sports. All we care about is talking football. So make sure you guys join us. Thank you so much, AZ Marco 7, for the support. So appreciate you joining us. So appreciate you joining and commenting in the chat. Appreciate the support you guys show us. McKinnon or Najee Harris? I would go with McKinnon. Francis, thank you so much. Appreciate you, brother. Out to my man, Blease. He does such a wonderful job. That's Ryan Lanham. Blease, you should check his content out as well. He does an absolutely fantastic job. Helps us out with our production. Blease, couldn't do this without you. Thank you so much. A few more questions. He does an absolutely fantastic job. Helps us out with our production. Blease, couldn't do this without you. Thank you so much. A few more questions from YouTube. Zay Jones or Garrett Wilson? I'd go with Garrett Wilson. Make sure you're subscribing on YouTube at Butt Fumble Sports. We put out a lot of content. Another question from YouTube. Bam Knight, Amari Cooper, or Fournette? On that one, I would lean towards Bam Knight. Just a few more questions to go, a few more minutes. Waller or Schultz? I'd go Waller. Last minute, Fields or Lawrence? I'd lean just slightly towards Lawrence. Mike Evans or Christian Kirk? I'd go Mike Evans. Who do I start? Titans, Chargers, Cowboys with Hurts out. What defense? I would start the Chargers defense. Make sure you're following us at Butt Fumble Sports on TikTok, Instagram, and YouTube. We will be back on later tonight. It's going to be a late night session after this Thursday night game. You don't want to miss it. So make sure you're following support. Appreciate all those who have joined us in the chat tonight. All your questions, all the support. We tried off now. We will be back later tonight. We'll be back tomorrow night as well. Saturday morning, Sunday morning. We will also be live for 3 hours from 10 all the way up until kickoff. You do not want to miss it. We'll be doing plenty of football talk throughout the next few days. Make sure you're following us at Butt Fumble Sports on TikTok, Instagram, and YouTube. That way you know every time we go live. So make sure you're subscribing. Make sure you're following at Butt Fumble Sports. We are so grateful to the Butt Fumble Sports community. The buddies with 2 T's, as I think of them, the buddies. You guys are absolutely incredible. We appreciate the loyalty. Make sure you guys are following at Butt Fumble Sports. Make sure you're subscribing. We'll be back after Thursday Night Football, but until then, enjoy tonight's game. Good luck in fantasy, and of course, I hope your tickets cash. We'll be seeing you soon at Butt Fumble Sports.
The Butt Fumble Sports Fantasy Football Advice for NFL Week 16. The running backs to start, flex, and sit this week. To start, of the Kansas City Chiefs, Jerick McKinnon. This week, McKinnon is projected to get 9.9 fantasy points, playing a Seattle Seahawks defense that is ranked 31st in fantasy versus running backs. To flex, of the New England Patriots, Ramondre Stevenson. In Week 16, Stevenson is projected to get 10.9 fantasy points, playing a Cincinnati Bengals defense that is ranked 10th in fantasy versus running backs. And finally, to sit, of the Washington Commanders, Antonio Gibson. Gibson is projected to get 7.4 fantasy points this week, but is playing a 49ers defense that is ranked first in fantasy versus running backs. For more fantasy football content, go to the Butt Fumble Sports Fantasy Football Advice for NFL Week 16. The running backs to start, flex, and sit this week. To start, of the Minnesota Vikings, Dalvin Cook. Cook is projected to get 17.2 fantasy points this week, playing a Giants defense that is ranked 25th in fantasy versus running backs. To flex, of the Pittsburgh Steelers, Najee Harris. In Week 16, Harris is projected to get 10.7 fantasy points, playing a Raiders defense that is ranked 24th in fantasy versus running backs. And finally, to sit, of the Philadelphia Eagles, Miles Sanders. Sanders is projected to get 11.7 fantasy points this week, but is playing a Cowboys defense that is ranked 4th in fantasy versus running backs. For more fantasy football content, go to @ButtFumbleSports on TikTok, @SportsFumble on Twitter,